hearing from everyone today has brought back stuff, but in a good way, because there's hope here. You know, there's healing, there's help. At the end of the day, that's all we're trying to do with this, and we do need to share this stuff, because you can't sanitize it, because the stuff does damage on people. And this song is called Sorrow. My stuff came back to hit me in 1993, the first week of January. I was 39 years old. I had what I thought was the best life. I was happily married, I had 5 kids. I was still drumming in rock and roll bands on the weekend, and I owned a successful music business that represented well over 30 to 40 bands working each week. They were in clubs, they were bands just signed to record labels, little bands that used to go see the big places, and now I was booking them into venues. Life was good, but all the stuff came crashing down on me, and I had to watch it all again with just non-stop flashbacks. Even though I was in the rock and roll world since the age of 10, I've never done any drugs. Now I entered the mental health world, and they put me on so many damn drugs. Granted, I was dealing with post-traumatic stress disorder, they told me, and also major depression. But I was not psychotic and all the rest of the stuff that they told me, because they had all kinds of labels on me, and there were just so many drugs. I was in a stupor for the first 2 years. I played havoc on my ex and my kids, because Dad was up in the bedroom not being able to come out because he was just, drooling and just a mess and just broken. It was the things that had been done to me. I was not mentally ill, and so this is part of the platform that I do when I'm advocating, because to change that question, what's wrong with you, to thinking, what has happened to someone, or what was done to them. When we start to do that, there's going to be a lot more healing. I then met, because of peer support groups, mental health centers, my first psychiatric hospital. The people sharing with me, they had all kinds of labels, but then as we got to know each other and bonding, they were sharing all this horrible, this wasn't sexual abuse, it was physical abuse, it was neglect, it was all poverty. And then when I started going out to little drop-in centers for folks dealing with severe mentally ill, I was just running little music programs, playing Beatles songs, some of my songs, oldies, classic rock. As I was there longer and longer, people started to share with me. And this was all around my little state of New Hampshire. I just kept hearing all these stories from people. I'd say, did you tell your counselor? Oh yeah, they tell them that that's in the past, to forget about it, I've got to move on. And I'm thinking, F you, it's in the past. It's right now because it's bothering them today. So this helped lay the groundwork for why I chose to become an advocate. It wasn't, because at first I thought, oh, it's just my stuff, no big deal, I'm just one person. But I was hearing this from hundreds of people. And as I started getting better at what I was doing, I was then speaking and performing around the country. And this, I think you'll appreciate this, because everyone's here today sharing their gut-wrenching truth. When mental health organizations or mental health advocacy group would hire me to come speak at their, be a keynote and perform, they'd always ask me, hey, can you tone down, the sexual abuse? Can you tone that down? And you heard what I said earlier. That's pretty much it. I don't need to get graphic or gory. The details are in, both of my parents abused me sexually, and many of their friends, male and female. So you can connect the dots. I don't need to get into all the details, but they wanted me to talk about my mental illness with depression and post-traumatic stress disorder, and I'm like, so anyways, that's why I do, part of the reasons why I do what I do. And this song, Sorrow, came out of those many interactions with people, and it's the composite of all the folks that they've gone through hell and then some, and I've really come to see them as what I say, surviving spirits, the unsung heroes of life, who are doing incredible things. If we could just take a moment to spend some time with them, you'll find Melissa Gill a beautiful human being. This little cap's for pain in the butt. Lord, just go away. Let me take from you all that you hold dear. I wanna hear you sing. I wanna hear you smile and clear. Yeah, I wanna hear you sing. I wanna hear you sing loud and clear. Can you sing to me, please? Can you sing to me, please? Thank you, folks.